Great. Thank you so much for sticking with us and welcome back. This is the November edition of the Talking Trade and Investment Global Webinar Series. And we've had the pleasure of listening to Mr. Fidelis Onu, the Director General for the Delta Chambers of Commerce and Industry. And right now we'll get to ask him some questions. If you have questions, please use the raise hand function and we'll get you to speak. But I'll start with the convener, Mr. Olufemi Boyede. The floor is yours. If you can put on your video, that would be great, sir.
Unfortunately, I can't put on my video. I'm actually making this interjection on my phone. Somehow the modem on the laptop has been acting up and it went off several times while Mr. On was making his presentation. But I do have a few crucial points that I want to bring up. That's why I raised my hand, and thanks for giving me the floor, Sheyi. Thank you again, Mr. Onu, for taking out time to be with us. Why this? One of the reasons why today's session is important to us at Talking Trade and as practitioners in Nigeria is because in our several previous engagements with power, that is the public sector, government to be precise, and I do have somebody here, a veteran soldier, a foot soldier, who understands what I'm saying, Dr. John Isemede. We have come to the conclusion that it would always sound Greek to them being power, whatever we're saying, unless there is what the private sector has now coined as evidence-based feedback. So unless we have evidence-based feedback from players, these government agencies probably permit the use of the word, underestimate the challenges out there. And that's why when I spoke with you for the first time, the kinds of instances that you were given, how we appear as a nation to be actually underestimating the oil that is being stolen from the South, the Niger Delta, the oil producing area, how youth unemployment actually is responsible in part or in a great part to the myriad of vices and crimes that are pervading the Nigerian nation and stuff like that. So I'm happy you've been able to outline a few of this. But talking about the MDAs, I'm talking of MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies of government on their own. We have had here over the past few months, we have had two chief executives, the executive director of the Nigeria Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, as well as the director general of SMEDAN, Small Medium Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, addressing us as guest speakers on this platform. And usually, when we bring these people, it is to facilitate access to these agencies and their programs. But the kinds of evidence-based feedback that we are getting is that while the CEOs, the heads of these agencies, actually mean well and are almost equally as passionate or sometimes even more passionate than those of us lesser mortals in this side of the divide, the impact of their activities is actually probably not quite felt or not properly communicated. So I would like to know from your experience leading a membership-based organization and being a part of several membership-based organizations who should be tapping into government programs and projects and activities that are going on. And I want to put you on the spot with a particular illustration. SMEDAN spent 4 days or 5 days, I can't remember. I'm not sure if Afi, the Commissioner of Commerce, Investment and Cooperatives of Edo State, I don't know if she has joined this session today, but they hosted an exhibition, an opportunities fair in Benin City that I believe is 1 hour's drive from Asaba. And you guys did not get the slightest inkling of it until I mentioned it to you on the day we were discussing. So I don't know if you can spend 1 minute to highlight or to first and foremost answer sincerely. Are you guys actually feeling the impact of the various government agencies? If not, what is your experience about how the programs and projects are communicated and whether they permeate your part of the country? And like Sheyi said earlier on, we believe that whatever it is that you are experiencing probably is just an illustration of what is happening in other parts of the country. Thank you. Sorry, my question and intervention took a little bit longer, but of course, we need to put it into perspective.
Okay, do I respond?
Yes, please, you can proceed with your response.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Boyede, for your question. And it's more like a question and contribution at the same time.
Yes, yes.
The sad thing, I have to be honest with you, since I'm trying my best possible not to sound too indicting and all that, but the honest truth, or from our experience, many of these people who occupy some of these very crucial positions or offices, in the MDAs, a lot of them are just there for the salary. They're not really there to really see to it that their tasks and targets given to them by their bosses are actually permeating all the way to the people that matter the most, which are the MSMEs. Can you imagine? Every now and then, I reach out to some of these people. I reach out to them, talking to them by email and WhatsApp and all that, introducing who I am and all that. And more often than not, the only time they try and some of them take me seriously is when I now appear in their offices in Asaba. Our headquarters, or the headquarters of the Chamber of Commerce, is not in Asaba. Is in another local government area, about 2 hours drive, 2 or 3 hours drive. But due to the floods now, it's hovering around 3 to 4 hours drive from Asaba to where my head office is in Okpe local government area. That's where the head office of the Chambers of Commerce is, right? And sometimes I have to shuttle down, at least when it was 2 hours from where I am to Asaba, I had to shuttle down to Asaba to go and meet with some of these MDAs, officers in these MDAs, to talk to them about what is required, what should be done, how these laudable interventions or schemes or initiatives can permeate, partnering with the organized private sector, which comprises of, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASME, NASI, then DACCIMA and all that, to see that these projects or schemes get to the people that matter. The gentleman who summarized my presentation also alluded to that percentage I was even talking about when I mentioned you need those estimates on SMEs as a very key factor to the economy. 96% of the businesses are run by SMEs or MSMEs, and yet they don't even know when some of these programs come for their own benefit, except if it's politically driven. Maybe the politicians want to see how they can leverage on some of these programs to gain political points. That's when you start seeing some of these schemes trickling down all the way to the grassroots. This is what has been a big pain and a bane to the whole scheme of things. And I'm grateful for this kind of program. I hope that such programs really have the people that matter listening in, coming in and participating, so that they can get real-time feedback, Sweden, I just mentioned now, you say that they did a program in Benin or Edo State. There's even another one I heard, just by the way, even after I engaged the officer in charge of Sweden in Delta State, you know, I still heard about another one, by the way, like out of the grapevine that they did in Calabar, you know, and, you know, for many of us in Delta State, we didn't hear about it. We didn't know about it. So many people didn't know how to participate or, you know, benefit from such a program. Even the one in Edo State, which is just next to us, you know, the cocoa pot in question is just about, it's like 30 minutes away from Benin main city by road. If you're driving, it's not a far distance. But before you get there, the road network between Edo State and Delta State is deplorable. You know, so you can imagine most of the exports even going on in cocoa seaports today, as of yesterday while I was there, comes from Edo State, but at great pains to the logistical pains to them. You understand what I'm saying? So all these kind of things, and the government knows this. They know about this. I mean, there are people even bigger than me who have tried to escalate the issue or escalate these challenges. You know, the disconnect between the public sector and the private sector. The people much, you know, at a higher place than me have tried to call government's attention to this on the federal level and on the local state level, and even on local government level. But they don't do anything until this political season, you know, like what we are in now. So that's when maybe, you know, some interventions or some semblance of, you know, responsibility starts to manifest. But once that is over, I pray it won't be like that next year. But that's what we've been saying. You understand? That's what we've been saying. It's very pathetic.
I don't want to get emotional, but let's see. We still have about 15 minutes to have this conversation. I see John Isimede's hand up. I see Omolara Akonji's hand up. But I'm just going to read a bit of questions. Engineer Ifeanyi, I think Mr. Fidelis Onu has answered your question that yes, as at yesterday, export is still being done via the cocoa pots. Just responding to the question you have in the chat. I would give the mic to Mr. John Isimede. He has put 2 comments in the chat, but I think he can just voice all of that and also make his contribution right away. Mr. John Isimede, the floor is yours, please.
Oh, thank you very much. Are you hearing me?
Yes,
we can hear you. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I am not a young boy or somebody who is coming to the export or cocoa pot or data today. The truth of the matter is that I was the former Director General of the Chamber of Commerce, and I was the one managing the chamber in the whole.
I'm afraid we cannot hear you again, Mr. John Isimede. Well, I think it's kicked you out. We've experienced this a number of times earlier today, but let's hope we'll get you back. Madam Omolara Akonji is also out, but Mr. Solomon Ogunleye has his hand up also. Let's see if we can welcome Mr. Solomon Ogunleye, and then we'll go back to Mr. John Isimede and Madam Omolara Akonji. Mr. Solomon Ogunleye, the floor is yours, please.
Yes, thank you, the moderator. You see, Niger Delta is a very beautiful place to work with. I'm a retired custom officer, and I will be worried for on two transfers, if I will use that word. You know, I like all what the Director General has said. He put up the matter as it was. But I don't want to repeat what I said. I don't want to add two caveats. Number one, the channels, the Warri channels particularly, if you can ask Warri, you can easily get to cocoa and the other forecasts are not the rest. The Warri channel, the channel is too shallow. If I mean, I'm talking in terms of trade facilitation and the ease of doing business there. If the DG can approach the mass and let them do something on the channel, it's shallow. Maybe in Warri Port, while we were there are some types of ships that cannot get there. Warri Port is essentially an export port, although they do imports, through the port, but it's essentially an export port. Now, if they can do something on the channel, and then the security of the area, that's another thing. Then I want to talk on attitudinal change of the officers, MDAs, attitudinal change, the way some of them act. Even while I was there, the way they are anti-trade. Now I'm out, and I'm into consultancy, trade and customs now. So I know there are some attitudes of some operatives there. Then I will advise the chamber to make sure that their members, in whatever they do, they factor integrity into it. Once they are doing the right thing, they can speak truth to power at any level. But I will advise them that they should add integrity in whatever they are doing. Thank you. That's just my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks for keeping it brief. Mr. Fidelis Onu, any direct response to that before we welcome?
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to quickly respond to him. Thank you, sir, for what you said, and it's very interesting to know somebody that knows the environment. One thing I must let you know is that since 2014, the president of the Delta Shippers Association, another association I belong to, was part of the ministerial committee on revitalization of the eastern ports, right? And for a long time they've been championing the dredging of the Escravos Bar or the Escravos Channel. It is only, I think, last year / this year that was finally done. It has been dredged, So the draft now is it hovers between 6.5 meters or thereabout. So it's not like very huge vessels can come, but vessels bringing in cargo, vessels bringing in wet cargo have always been coming. Whether it was not 6.5 or not, they've been coming. But now, general cargo vessels can come because it has been dredged. Now, the cocoa port in particular, the cocoa tea port in particular, is 8.5 or 8.7 meters in draft. That I found out yesterday, right? And so export is going on actively there. Export is going on actively, not in the volume that we would like to see, but it's much more active than Warri Port. In fact, Warri Port, nobody really uses that place for export. Most people are using cocoa port, and that should be good news for people living in the eastern region, businesses like the people in Onitsha, Newi, and all that. That should be good news for them. Some of them are already accessing it, so it's not a new thing. But the thing is that people don't really know about it. Now, to talk about your previous organization very quickly, Customs. Just recently, I tried to bridge a kind of courtesy visits between our association and the customs office in Warri Port that you worked in at one time or the other. And the PRO of that place was incredibly unfriendly. So I had to ask her at one point, are you really a public relations officer or what? So she took offense and maybe reported to her boss, who now reported to one of the presidents of the city chambers, who now got in touch with me and was telling me that, look, you should know that these people are paramilitary, so you don't expect that they will sound normal to you. I said, if that's the case, they should leave the place and go and join the army. Why are they paramilitary? They might as well just become full-blown military. If that's what the urge is in them. If you're going to be dealing with the public who you are working for, because at the end of the day, the port services and everything to do with trade facilitation is to make things easy for people like us who are actively involved in export or import in one form or the other, not to make problems. The Chamber of Commerce is trying to bridge the gap so that we can have better understanding of what you are doing. And yet you're telling the person that the person is disturbing you. That was very rude of the person. So to answer your question about integrity, yes, we are looking at integrity is an issue for every sector, private or public,
Absolutely.
and it's something we try to live by. So I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you very much. I'm also going to pass the mic very quickly to Okwase Udensi, and then Mr. John just after that. I see he's back in the room now. Okwase, Okwara Udensi, please. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for giving me the floor to speak. I will just do maybe 2 minutes, max, to talk thank you for organizing this event, and also thanks to Mr. Fidelis Onu, who has also given us this brief. I am the chairman of MAN, Edo Delta. So based on what he's actually talking about, we know a little bit more, since I manage the whole industries that are within the Delta and Delta State and Edo State. So most of the things he has enumerated, it's a fact. And it's, for me, when we have this kind of gathering, this kind of meeting, there should be a take-home. And how do we channel this take-home to the power that will be, that power that be? Because most time, you continue to have an interaction with them and nothing comes up. One of the things I also wanted to mention to tell the DG, that when you talk about, the other man talked about the channel, the channel dredging, the channel of the Escravos River. I can tell you, the channel, you go to those people, they will tell you it's been dredged. What was dredged is the estuary outside, because I am involved. Yeah, I'm quite experienced in the maritime industry. What was done is when you go to the estuary, we'll call it estuary, before you arrive even to the main waters of the Chanomi Creek and the Focados rivers that take us to Warri Port, those places has not been dredged. So if you do the estuary and you don't dredge the high spots along the Escravos River. From the Escravos River, you come into the Chanomi Creek. From the Chanomi Creek, you now enter into the Focados River. From the Focados River, you now go into the Warri River, where you now come into the port. Those areas are not dredged. And that has been the problem, where vessels cannot come to the port. So I think these are the things, if we know this, when people tell us that this place has been dredged, we should be able to interrogate them and tell them this as part of the problems. So for me, government should come up openly to say, okay, I want to dredge the Warri Channel. And Warri Channel Warri Port can only be effectively used when there is what we call channel management, because the Warri Port is almost about 78 kilometers from the port. So for that length of channel, there are bound to be siltation along the channel. So if you don't maintain it, after dredging it, it will all come back again. So I think that's one of the things I also want to let you know, the DG. So in case you're interacting with these people, they will definitely will. But at the end of it all, what I want to add is to say thanks for this, but let's continue to put out the pressure. Let's continue to talk to the power that will be, because for me, we have been engaging the state governors, talking with them, but most time, government have not realized the importance of the SMEs in this country. I can tell you, when I talk to the government have not realized that. And I wonder how we can make them to realize it. It is only when government realizes it, we can make a headway. Thanks so much for this opportunity.
We must thank you most sincerely, Mr. Udensi, for that, for coming up. I mean, when we talk about people on this space, we really appreciate the fact that we appreciate the quality of the people that are, very willing to commit their time to have this kind of conversations with us. Thank you so much again, DG Edo Chambers of Commerce, right? Mr. Okwara Udensi and Mr. Solomon Ogunlaye from the Nigerian Customs, who spoke earlier. Just for the sake of time, we'll pass it to our very respected Johnny Simede, and then to Madam Omolara Akonji, and we can get Mr. Fidelis' feedback from the two of them, and then we can begin to wrap up. Mr. Johnny Simede.
Good evening. Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Fidelis. It is very interesting. I am from this part of the country, Edo Delta. The truth of the matter is that we are not going to blame the government, because most of these MDA were set out to favor a group of people. And secondly, when you see them in events, they always send people to come and read their statutory functions and what they have inserted. The culture of export and quick money will not allow. That is the problem we have with the SMEs. It is interesting and beautiful to say that as the former Director General of DACCIMA, I have been in the chamber movement across the globe for more than 30 years. And in data, you have Okwe, you have Wari, you have Asaba, you have Osioko, you have Saple and Etu. So also you have South-South Chamber of Commerce. Most of these chambers are in private pockets. I don't want to wash our ninis in the public. As soon as we finish, please let us talk one-on-one. How do you get members? And who are these members? What do they do? The last time, when I came to data in 2010, I got the information that for 10 years, there was no trade fair in data stage. And even when we organize trade fair in Nigeria, who do we see and what do we exhibit? 99% of imported goods. Chambers are not under one umbrella. As you are sitting down there now, a lot of chambers have gone to South Korea with members' money and all that. And when they come back, we don't even see technical report. So these are things we need to do to come together. When you are talking of cocoa pot and all that, let us give it to this guy who was the head of NEPC office in Benin.
McPherson.
McPherson. I went to data. I went across the ports with him, and we dragged people from east, west, and everywhere that you can use cocoa pot. And so also Ames was constructing a warehouse in Benin. All those things we don't have in Delta State. Your governor in Delta was my contemporary in the secondary school and all that. So some of us can talk to some of them one-on-one. But our obstacle is not mainly the MDAs. We, the chambers, we are not operating together, because in Benin Republic, it's only one chamber running the country. That is why sometimes when you see certificates of origin from Nigeria, people are demanding 13. When I wrote a letter, that is not only a Ramsay report. I have more than 60. So I might have more than 60 chambers of commerce in Nigeria. Some are in private home and private pocket, which we don't know, not known by DACCIMA, not known by CAC. So after this meeting, please let us talk. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Fidelis, I know you want to respond, but let's see if we can very quickly sink in Madam Omolara Akonji's comments very quickly. And thank you so much, Dr. John Isimede, for that.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. I think Mr. Isimede had said a lot about what I wanted to say, but the bottom line is integrity. The bottom line is integrity, and I'm very happy at the presentation of Mr. Fidelis, because he has spoken the truth to power. And my major concern is the fact that all these MDAs, even if we say they are not the real issue, they are the bane of concern for all the MSME in Nigeria, because when they are set up, they have mission and vision, but they are never, addressing those vision and mission to impact the public, the MSME that they were set up to oversee. For example, NEPC and NIPC, they should relate in the sense that even NEXIM that didn't give you a good reaction when you went to them, Mr. Fidelis, NEPC and NIPC should bridge that gap. We don't need to go to NEXIM, even though NEXIM is set up to help export, import related financing. But what about NIPC? What are they doing with NEPC? Nigeria Investment Promotion Council. A lot of investments comes into NIPC that can help MSME that they have not done. It goes into private pockets, just as Chief Isemede said. A lot of things had gone wrong. At this period of the year, MDAs, they are spending the money that they have budgeted for and they have not used. They will do all sorts of trade fair that is not known to the stakeholders, and the thing goes into their pockets. So it is good that we say all these things and package it and let the minister that is in charge of all these things get to know what is going on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Omolara Akanji. For those that have been joining over the years, you know that she is one of our most constant, most passionate, and most experienced participants on Talking Trade. It's about time we begin to round off. Mr. Fidelis Onu.
Yeah, but not until I... Hello, Jay.
Yes, yes, Mr. Fenboide.
Let me just quickly interject here before Mr. Onu comes up. I want to, I had read Doctor's contribution in the chat box earlier, and I want to side with her. There was a time in earlier administrations where the SGF, the late Ufot Ekaete, was so concerned about getting people to break their territories. It was in his office for the first time that we attacked the issue of territorialization. There is no doubt that trade is two ways. Where it is export on one side, it is import on the other side. So it's always import-export trade. And to that effect, it also implies that investment comes in, investment into the production for export. So they just have no reason not to go hand in hand. In fact, if you ask me, I don't have access to Oronsaye's report, but I would say, for example, a country like Malaysia has not segregated these agencies from each other. I think they are all under one Ministry of Import, Export, and Investment and stuff like that. They're all in one place. So when we have an Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, for example, attracting FDI into an industry that wants to set up in Nigeria for 100% production for export, the first place, of course, should be the Nigeria Export Promotion Council. And this, I believe, during the time of, as soon as the Buhari administration came up, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has been hammering on the annoyance, the dissatisfaction of his administration to the silo mentality of the agencies under under the same government. Is it Chinua Achebe that said, if things fall apart, the center is definitely not going to be able to hold? So I want to believe that, sincerely, one of the conclusions that we are getting here today, the recommendations, is to again reiterate, we are not rediscovering, we are not the first to say it. It is to reiterate the need for interagency cooperation and collaboration. If not, we're not going anywhere. And the other thing I wanted to say is to tie Dr. Isemede and Mr. Udensi's contributions together to actually request, please, if you have, like I mentioned, evidence base, if you have these statistics or these illustrations that can be used to advocate, to champion a pressure that will let power. Remember, the title of today's edition is Speaking Truth to Power, Unveiling the Challenges, so that we can pass on to the various agencies that will read this report please feel free to share them with us. Thank you, Sheyi. Over back to you.
Thank you very much. Just so we can round off once and all with final comments from our guest speaker, Mr. Fidelis Onu, I'll very quickly, pass the mic to Bodo Sunday, and then we can get a closing remarks from Mr. Fidelis Onu. Mr. Bodo Sunday, the floor is yours, please.
Hello, good evening, all. Thank you for
welcome.
Please, I already have touched my question in the chat box. Thank you for inviting DG. Thank you, Mr. Fidelis Onu. This shows actually you're doing something. Can the group or the export trade invite any DG from the Southeast, at least to tell us how are they impacting people, just like Mr. Fidelis has done? Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy with Mr. Fidelis. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Without any further ado, I also have some questions, but time would not permit. So, Mr. Fidelis Onu, please, the floor is yours. You've gotten lots and lots of comments and commendations, and I saw you struggling a bit with the lights there, talking about challenges you're facing. But yeah, the floor is yours if you would just round off briefly. Thank you.
Well, hello?
We can hear you. Please go on.
Okay, so since time is already fast spent and against me, the little I would say is that, yes, the issue about the MDAs working together cannot be overemphasized, because, you know, that would prevent, you know, overlapping of functions or multiplicity of functions. You know, there should be a single window or channel by which, you know, the SMEs can, you know, get their requirements met or meet with their requirements. A single channel. I thought that was why the presidential commission on that's PEBEC was formed, you know, to try to make to harmonize the MDAs in addressing what they should be providing for what the SMEs should be getting and all that. You know, the single channel that would prevent a lot of things. If there's a portal by which the SME can, you know, respond to customs, respond to NDLEA, respond and all that, you know, maybe meet with questions, even CAC and all that. If there's a single portal like that, where like a one-stop shop, maybe that will help, you know. Concerning exports from cocoa pot, I want to re-emphasize that I have even sent Mr. Femi a report. He didn't ask me to, but I just sent it to him from my trip to cocoa pot. Cocoa pot is actually working. It has facility. Yes, they may need certain things. That's even an opportunity for investment for private sector. Some of their lapses are actually opportunities for private sector investment. You know, so the channels that Mr. Udensi talked about, yes, he's very correct. But the latest is that the vessels can come through cocoa pot to do their import export. Cocoa pot has the deepest. It's a natural harbor. It's a natural harbor. It's about 8 kilometers to the main estuary. So the vessels don't have to travel far before they go into the sea or come in from the sea. You know. So that said, a matter of integrity, I would like to say, as regards the chambers of commerce, you know, trade fairs have been held in Delta State. There was a time that was Edo Delta Trade Fair, you know, and that was in 2005 or thereabout. Trade fairs have been held in 2018. I know this because I was chairman of the marketing committee for the trade fair in Delta State. You know, trade fair, the chambers of commerce is not owned by any one person. Like every other association, it has its own internal politicking and all that we also have a way to address. You know, we do the change of ownership, the change of leadership through zoning. You know, that's how we rotate the membership or leadership and all that. Madam Akanji, you know, talked about NIPC. I, for one, do not even know what NIPC does. I know they exist. You understand? I know they exist, but I don't feel their impact. I don't know what they see. The bottom line, I wish that Mr. Femi Boyede would actually provide a platform whereby the people that need to hear this are actually hearing this. They will listen and they will hear. Because if we say all this at the end of the day, maybe the report may get to them. They may read it, they may not read it. I don't know. But if they hear it raw, they hear the contributions raw, they now know that, oh, you mean the person I put in this office is not really doing his job. Oh, that can third-party information that all these ministries need. It's not just, oh, I send this person, the person comes back with a report that he may have doctored. There has to be credibility to that report, and that can only be done in third-party input. And that's what the chambers of commerce or any other OPS can provide. With that, and because of time, I will just stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed. I thought Mr. Boyede wanted to make a quick response to that, particularly your comment about NIPC.
No, I will pass.
I know why you will pass. I know why you will pass. Mr. Fidelis, you will not be surprised to know that probably some very high-level NIPC officials are on this call. But it's good. I mean, it's fine to speak it as it is.
I wasn't indicting anybody. I was just speaking to power.
Exactly.
Speaking truth to power.
And we're glad, as you say, we're glad you're able to do that. That's exactly our intention. On this note, we just have to say thank you indeed, Mr. Fidelis Onu, for not just a very rich conversation, but very conversational webinar today. Mr. Fidelis is the Director General of the Delta Association of Chambers of Commerce. He's also worked since June 2022. He's been the Secretary of the Coalition of the South-South Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. And over the last 1 hour, we've been having very rich, insightful conversation about speaking truth to power, trying to unveil the challenges of MSMEs, not just only in the South-South region, but also replica of other parts of Nigeria. We must say thank you to you, the listener, for your time. We really do appreciate that even on a weekend when you could be partying or just being with the family, you would always take out the first Saturday of every month to join us and listen to the Talking Trade webinar. We understand that we have very high-profile people on this space. I see Chief Kola Akosile. I see Madam Bosun Sholari. I doubt if she's missed any of our webinar. I see Uju Hassan. I see Madam Omolara Akonji, former CBN Director. I see Solomon Ogunleye, former custom boss, and a lot of other people. For time's sake, I wouldn't be able to mention name. But indeed, it's just to express our gratitude to you for always being there every first Saturday of the month. We really do appreciate that. We do not take it for granted, and we hope that you would continue to be a part of subsequent editions of Talking Trade. We also want to say thank you to those that will be joining, that have joined basically on other platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, and for you who is yet to connect with us on those other platforms, I have just put in the chat box the link to join us on every other platform. So it's not just once in a week that we meet here. Our resources are available on the website. We have this conversation going forward on WhatsApp. On YouTube, you find a video of all that all the webinars we've been doing since inception. And so you can always revisit any of them that you wish for. I also want to say one thing that I've been able to, that I really do appreciate about the conversation today is that connection that we've been able to build. So it's not just one person from, the South coming to express his grievances, but also experienced people coming on board to say, hey, we are ready to help. Hey, a lot more can be done. Hey, let's work together. And that's one of the things we are excited about as the organizers of the Talking Trade series. Now I must say thank you to those that work behind the scene. As I said when I started, I'm just standing in for Lady K today. Lady K has always been our host and our moderator on the Talking Trade webinar series, but she's recovering, and for that reason, I have been asked to stand in for her. I also want to say thank you to Dr. Olutaiwo. Thanks to Mr. Ibrahim Aruno. Thanks to Tomini Adebote, and of course, many thanks to the convener and the host, Mr. Olufemi Boyede. Because of the hard work that you all put into this, we are able to make this happen every now and then. Now, you may be wondering, when will the next webinar series be? December is here already. We've had 1 year stretch of the webinar series, and we will put it out on our social media platforms. We don't know if it will be the first week in December, if we'll be able to accommodate that, hopefully, or if it will be in January or February. But if you do follow us on our respective platforms, you will definitely be able to find the details of the next series of the Talking Trade session. And with that, I would like to call it a wrap, except I have any comments or reminders from the team. Mr. Femi Goede, maybe you can give a closing remarks or a thank you remarks.
Yeah, you forgot to thank yourself.
Oh, I am hereby thanked.
So on behalf of everybody, this time around, I'm part of us here, everybody, that's the participants in today's webinar. I want to say a very big thank you to my team. Like I always tell you guys, you think I'm just forming. You are definitely the greatest team in the world. And you helped me to, take so much burden off me that I'm actually probably considering myself as the laziest part of this team. You guys are just great, and I thank God. Also, on behalf of everybody, I wish our moderator, our anchor, the face of Talking Trade, Lady K, a speedy, full recovery. Like she said, we had quite a number of people of power, people in power on today's platform. They have had and they will take. Indeed, a few minutes before the end, the director and regional head of NEPC in Southwest Nigeria, Mr. Samuel Oyeyipo, walked in on the program. Chief Kola Akoshile, Sheyi, I'm not too sure if you saw his comments. I want to reiterate what he has said, because when we talk about public-private partnership, somebody broke it down to public-public partnership, that is interagency collaboration, public-private partnership, and even private-private partnership. And Chief Akoshile, who wears, I don't know, maybe 3 caps. I would mention the 3 that I know that are very relevant today. Chief Akoshile is the Deputy National Vice President, MAN, Southwest. He's the Deputy National President, DACCIMA. He is a former, what do you call it? Is it chairman now of Western Region Chamber of Commerce? He has stressed in the comment section the need to revive or resuscitate the regional meetings of the chambers of commerce. Of course, you guys will also have to tap into the experience and track record of Dr. John Isemede, who was actually National Director General of DACCIMA. I think these are resources that are very, very available, and like Sheyi mentioned, you need to continue to tap into this. On this note, once again, I want to thank you all very much and appreciate God for giving us the health and the strength to keep going. Thank you all very much.